Every year, back problems cost British industry almost £6 billion, mainly due to bad working practices. And that's certainly a potential problem for professional drivers. This is every truck driver's workplace. It's your cab. Well, actually, it's the Scania 4 Series cab. Its design has won awards for its excellent ergonomics, use of space and levels of safety. Many drivers rate it as the ideal working environment. But unique to a driver's workplace is that you often don't leave it for hours at a stretch, which is why your driving position, particularly your seat adjustments, have to be exactly right for you.
Don't they? Well, of course they do. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Two of the seats from the Scania 4 Series, I'm sure you'll be familiar with them. State-of-the-art, designed for the rigours of long and short-haul journeys, designed for a difficult job because they're designed for you. And that was the starting point for the designers. When they set about creating the ideal workplace, naturally, they looked at the typical driver. And here he is, the typical driver. And that's the problem. Obviously, there's no such thing as a typical driver. And that's why Scania have given you seats with an infinite number of settings. But how are you supposed to know which is the correct setting for you? Well, I have absolutely no idea, but I know a man who does. This is my chiropractor, Dr. Richard Lanigan. Now, I would imagine that you see a lot of drivers in your clinic.
Yeah, sure. We see a lot of drivers, particularly truck drivers. They come in with a lot of different problems, neck and shoulder problems, low back pain, numbness, pins and needles, due to the fact that they spend so much time sitting every day.
That's the main cause, is it, sitting for a long period of time?
Yeah, the main cause is because they don't get any movement during the journey. So they're in one static posture for the duration.
Okay, so what can they do to prevent these problems?
First of all, the most important thing, when they have a break, to get out of the cab, not to sit in the cab all the time, to get out and move around for about 10 minutes or so to restore normal circulation into those muscles. And then when they get back into the cab, they should reconsider adjusting the seat again.
So why would you have to readjust the settings?
Because the spine is dynamic, and so what was the optimal position first thing in the morning might have changed as the day goes on.
Okay, so to find this perfect setting, if I just sit on the seat, can you just give me a few pointers, Richard, into how I would find the best setting for me?
First of all, you've got to be sitting comfortable, okay? The back of the seat should support your spine. This part down here should be at an angle of about 120 degrees, so to support the angle of your lumbar spine and the pelvis. Your knees should be about 90 degrees to the floor, feet comfortable, okay? They are supporting the weight of your legs, so underneath your thighs there isn't too much pressure, which would compromise the circulation and the sciatic nerve. You shouldn't have to reach too far for the pedals, so that puts extra stress on the muscles you're going to use during the journey, or you shouldn't have to reach too far for the steering wheel, because again that could stretch those muscles too much.
Okay, so to feel relaxed, now 4 hours is a long period of time. Is there anything that drivers can do apart from having the optimum setting to relieve any problems?
Yeah, most definitely. Most of them are probably going to be listening to music on the trip, so the left leg they tend not to use too much when they're driving on the motorway. So if they were to try and move that, perhaps tap their feet, that foot to the music, or otherwise they could move their backside on the seat. So they might lift one side slightly and then the left, to try and maintain some movement and circulation in the muscles during the course of the journey.
So it's vital to keep the movement going while you're sitting down?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, well I totally understand the theory of it all. Let's go and put it into practice now, and let's go to the truck. Right, let's try this out. I'm in. Well, this feels quite comfortable, Richard. What's wrong with this?
Okay, right. First, the angle is too big. You're leaning back too much. So you need to bring that forward to give yourself more support on the lumbar spine and pelvis. Good, right? Okay. About there. So right. The angle is about 120 degrees, okay?
Okay.
Your feet should be on the ground comfortable, because right now your feet are just dangling, so there's a lot of pressure under your leg. So that is going to restrict the circulation and possibly put pressure on the sciatic nerve.
And give me pins and needles.
Exactly,
okay.
exactly. So we need to make the seat come down a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, that feel comfortable? Now this part of the seat here, this is pushing up against your leg. So that's not good because that's another area where it could block the circulation. So we need to make the seat go back so there's a good space here, possibly 3-finger width.
Okay, so what's that, a couple of inches?
There you go, that's perfect. How does it feel for your arms?
A bit far away, really, to be honest, so I'd need to adjust this,
yeah, perhaps you need to bring the steering wheel a bit more towards you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's better. Now, Richard, there's also other adjustments that we can make in the back of the seat. What are those actually doing for you?
Okay, this one here puts air into the lumbar support.
So in your expert opinion, how good is this seat regarding preventing back and neck problems?
Well, I mean, no matter how much you spend on designing a seat, there isn't such a thing as a perfect seat for the individual. But because the amount of alterations that can be made to this seat, I think it's very, very good.
Well, this feels really good, Richard. I could put this into practice now, if I only had an HGV licence. Well, let's remind you of the key points we want you to remember.
Always take time to adjust your seat properly at the start of every journey. Be prepared to readjust the seat settings if need be during your working day. The human body is not designed for sitting stationary for long periods. Look for ways to move in your seat while driving. The smallest movements will help your blood circulation, even tapping your feet to the music or moving your weight around in your seat. And don't just sit in your cab during your break, get out and walk about, ideally for 10 minutes or so. There you go, just a few simple pointers guaranteed to make your driving more comfortable.